So there's 4 Mondays left in the year, which is so crazy to think about. I can't believe this year's over already, but I started to think about our pleasure experience in our relationship. Now, when Chuck and I were 12 years, like in the middle of our sexlessness, we never talked about goals. We never talked about our vision for our relationship and our marriage. We just allowed things to happen as they happened. And oh, well, that's just how it is. We didn't feel like we had any control over making things better. And so what we've learned through this whole process is that it is really important to sit down together as a couple and design the type of sex life that we actually want, instead of life ruling and deciding for us, instead of bad circumstances or trauma in our family or the kids or any of that. Instead of that ruling and controlling how we were showing up in our relationship, we actually decided to take back the control. So what we decided to do during our 12 years, and part of how we overcame, is we sat down together and we wrote out what we wanted our sex life to look like. We designed it. So how many times a week do we want to have sex? What type of sex do we want to have during those times? Do we want it to be where one person is receiving all the pleasure? Or do we want it to be where both of us are receiving pleasure? How long do we want to have sex? Do we want to make sure that we don't stop until we both have come to completion? All of these different things. And so through that, we put a timeline on how we wanted to better our relationship. So now that we knew what type of sex we wanted to happen in the bedroom and like the frequency of it, then we went about and we laid out the things that could potentially get in the way of us having an amazing sex life and us, coming together as often as we really wanted. So like, what were those things that might get in the way? Of course, one of those things would be our kids. Another thing would be our dog, both of which are major cock blockers. If you have kids or pets, I'm sure you know what I mean. Sometimes our moms or mother-in-law calls would come in, or unexpected visits from, neighbors or things like that. So all of these unexpected things that could potentially get in the way of the pleasure, we laid those out on the same piece of paper. And we're like, okay, how can we make it so that these potential things don't get in the way? Well, for us, we had to lay out the law with the kids. So you guys cannot sleep in here anymore. You can't just come in the room. You have to knock. We ended up putting a lock on our door so the kids couldn't just come on in. This room is no longer your room, kids. This room is no longer yours, dog. You have to stay out during the time that, husband and I, dad and I are coming together. And so we laid out the law for them, and then we didn't give them an inch. If they tried to come and knock the door or tried to say, hey, brother and I are getting in this fight and we need you to help us overcome, we're like, sorry, like you literally have to figure it out yourself. This is mom and dad time. You guys are not, getting in the way any longer. And so you have to do this too. Another thing as well is that we would celebrate our wins. And so if we had a really good week and we were really feeling emotionally connected and physically connected and spiritually connected and mentally connected, all those things, like we would go out and celebrate. We would go and get frozen yogurt, or, Chuck would buy me flowers, or like I would buy him a new t-shirt or something that like I knew that he would really appreciate, just to show like, thank you for putting our marriage first. Like we did such a good job this week. Let's go and celebrate. And then the last thing that we did, and I highly recommend if you're wanting to improve your sex life with your partner, and you're in love and you guys really want to make this work, is you need to have like a huge why. Like, why is this important that we fix our sex life and our marriage? And if we don't, are we going to be okay with our relationship crumbling and our relationship no longer being a relationship? Are we going to be okay with, going out and hiring a lawyer and paying all the fees and separating all our finances and separating all our home goods and selling the house and running the kids back and forth, and the kids living in different houses and the kids having to make new friends? Like, all of these other outside things could be impacted if we didn't figure our stuff out, right? So you have to have a really big why. And you need to be focused on it. You need to pray about it. And you need to give your life to Jesus every single day and ask God to help you. And listen, if all of this doesn't help you like it did for us, that's when you need to hire a coach. That's when you need to figure out, like, who would be the best mentor, who would be the best coach or therapist to actually help us to achieve these things, because something is getting in the way. We've already tried to do all these things by ourselves, but something's still getting in the way. What is it? And, a coach or mentor like myself, man, like, I've been there. So I could see the blind spots on what is actually holding you back from achieving what you guys really want to achieve. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope this has inspired you, this Motivation Monday. And of course, if you would like to connect with me further on what it would look like to help you in your relationship to achieve the sex life that is really important to you, so that you can experience abundance in the bedroom the way God intended for you to have all along, please reach out to me. It just takes a simple message. We can jump on a quick call. I can see what's going on and give you some advice on how you should move forward. So hopefully this has helped. Thanks. Take care.